I don't know about food, but with the maintenance you can access food in any case. There's also a bridge you can take. For example, you work on a farm, and they just deliver the best of their produce to the distribution, and the rest goes back to the land as compost or gets eaten by the people living on the farm. So if you are on a farm or volunteering or even living there, your need for food that you have to buy gets reduced. The next question relates to that. How is the access to resources for an individual? How easy is it to live without money to fulfill individual potential? How easy is it to go the direction of self-realization and not to something just because of money? Now that's a lot of questions, but I'll answer one by one. How easy is it to live without money? It depends on what you expect of life. If you expect a television set, or if you expect a big car, or if you expect whatever, there's the need for financing that. And if you want to lead a simple life, it's very easy to live there. As I said, you can get land for free. The problem then is to build private housing, because very few projects get funded. You might apply for a public housing project, for apartment in a public housing project, but there are also very few, and so the only thing you can do then is to build something of wood, or the stones you find there in the place, or to take a brick compressing machine, and compress the bricks yourself and build your house yourself, which takes a little bit of time, effort, but in principle you can do that. So how much do you need to start? I checked that for my personal case, and I found out that with a very few thousand euros you can, for initial investments, you can start a sustainable living project that lasts as long as you like. Of course, I am the kind of person who likes to live simple, so I have no problem with not having a TV set or a washing machine or a car. But well, as I said, it depends on your expectations of what life has to look like.
And if you talk about washing machines, how they wash their rearings, their clothings, basically with cold water in the sea, or how does it work?
Partly with water that is cooked on a stove, like a wood stove or a gas stove. As a cleaning substance, they use washing nets, which are grown in southern India, and that's how many clean their clothes. Lucas or Annie is asking a question about the payment for land. The land itself is offered to you for usage. The land is in the ownership of the foundation. Then the problem then is, or let's say, at the moment there are 500 acres of land that are not used, which are in the ownership of the foundation. So they desperately search for people who work on the land, make farms of it, or cultivate the land. you get offered that land for free. Of course, it's not your possession or your property, but you can use it for free. The housing then is a problem. As I said, how do you build your house? If you want to build a house of cement, then you need workers and material, so you have to pay for that. But then you have responsibility to find a way of using resources on the land like wood or stones and build a house of that. Then you're free of any payment. So once it burns, it boils down to your expectations of what your life has to look like in the future. There's the option of building a tree hut. It's they say tree hut, although it's not built on a tree, but it's a raised building on 4 or 6 or 4 or more granite pillars, and on that granite pillars they build a wooden structure. And as far as I know, you can have such a structure for about 500 or 800 euros, depending on how large it is. There's quite some big constructions or big buildings in that sort of construction. One moment, I got a picture. That's a little one, and I'll search for a bigger building. Oh, sorry, you have to insert AV minus before the number. Sorry. This one and this one. Number 22 is a little hut, and number 210 is a little bit bigger. It's a really impressing structure. If you walk in, and it's very, very cool. It's at least 10 to, I guess about 10 degrees below the outside temperature there. There's a large hall inside for teaching or playing games or just having a leisure time, and large annexes with places where your bed is or whatever. And on this farm there's in winter time there's 200 people living there or staying there, with basic personal of 50 people. So proceeding with the question, how easy is it to go to the direction of self-realization and not to do something just because of money? You're free to choose your job. Of course, if there's no jobs in office, for instance, in a certain office, you cannot work there, but it's easy to find something in the direction you like to do, and or do something and wait for an opening place somewhere, and really being satisfied with what you do. But on the other hand, I have to add something about self-realization. It's a different meaning in Auroville, and that comes from the Indian culture. It means for India, or it is commonly understood as allowing the highest self, or the divine, to realize itself in you. You become, so to speak, you become a resident in order to serve Auroville, in realizing human unity, in progressing consciousness, and not for realizing your desires or your wishes. Someone said to me, Auroville is not for you. You are for Auroville. And that's what one has to understand in the context of self-realization. As the mother said, liberty does not mean to follow one's desires, but on the contrary, to be free of them. And that's something that's very worthwhile to me. Although I understand that some might think this is not acceptable, but I just tell it the way it is. Pen, there you're wrong. I cannot prove you wrong, but I proved that notion in myself wrong. I once thought too that you can't be free of desires, but you can, really you can. It's doable. You just have to try. So I cannot prove you, but you have to experience it. I'll come to that point later when we talk about spirituality. You have to make a difference between wishes and needs.